A number of students have indicated they would like to use WordPress to create their semester project for web design. WordPress is a very common tool that people use as a basic content management system. WordPress, of course, was created more than a decade ago as a blogging platform. What that means is initially it was designed to make periodic posts to a web hosting space. And the focus was on these periodic views of information that were organized by date of when someone posted this journal entry. Each entry can have tags, contents, titles. The content can be text or photos or multimedia. There's all sorts of things we can do with WordPress as a content management system, and it is a fantastic tool for a basic website. You can even involve shopping tools in a WordPress account. And it's nice because you can also have static pages along with your periodic pages. So it's a great tool for making a small to medium-sized website. You can have multiple users of the site, meaning you can have everything from people who can read it, author, edit, or administrate. That allows you to have all sorts of levels of control and who can read and receive information and who can be involved in content creation and how they can be involved in content creation. The thing that separates a dedicated content management system apart from a tool like WordPress, which was originally meant for blogging, is that these major content management systems, while they do have tools that would allow you to have blog-style posts or posts that are related to time entries, they're primarily page-oriented, and you can create pages in sections. You can have groups of people that have permissions. You can give people permission to only work on a certain part of a website in the content management system. So it is much more powerful. Besides just the permission level of people, you can direct them to have access to just different areas of the site. So that's really the big difference between WordPress and a true full-blown content management system. Here we're looking at the home screen of ClassWEB here at CCV, and it is a lot like any commercial shared hosting control panel you might have. I'm just going to take a moment to show you a control panel that I have used professionally, and you can see it is very similar things to the Centaura control panel we have with ClassWEB. We have file management tools, we have database tools. I can manage my domains here, which we don't have with our school one. I can manage email for those domains. I have a variety of analytical tools available, security tools available, software installation tools, and then because I have a site that is a reseller account, so I can manage multiple accounts under my account, I also have these advanced tools as well for a web host manager and other tools. The software installer here for my commercial account that I use is this Softaculous apps installer. And on a commercial level, there are all sorts of apps that they have pre-installed, not on my domain name, but they have the installers pre-installed in their system. And it's a very uniform install. The commercial hosting companies will do a great job of keeping the most current, stable version of any app updated on their install site. Some apps require you to actively go and install them, and some apps with the software installer that your hosting company might have may automatically update. But this is something you should check on regularly. You can see here on my commercial account, I actually have groups of kinds of applications that we can install. And I don't really want to go into them heavily. If maintaining sites is something that you're going to want to do, it's important to understand that we kind of have a stripped down version of a control panel on our college server, but it is enough to do what we want to do in this class. The app installer here is Syntastico. They always have weird names, and they don't always have icons that say app installer. I don't know what a smiley face has to do with installing apps, but just hovering over the smiley face tells us what the tool does. And it says that it's an installation tool which will effortlessly copy a wide range of open source web scripts. And when you click on it, you'll see that here with ClassWEB, the college has allowed you to Joomla, which is a very complex content management system, and WordPress, which is a simpler content management system. Now, if you go ahead and hit the install button here, you're going to get an alert that says the package requires a database and a database user. We're going to want to go ahead and do that stuff. They've given us links here, but I'm going to step through the database management using this menu up here. Or you can use this menu over here. Both of them are going to manage your database. So the MySQL database link takes you to the start of setting up a database. All databases require a unique name, and it's a one-click creation. As an instructor, I can create an unlimited number of databases. As a student, it's my understanding you are limited to one database. You can always delete the database and start a new one if you want to do something different on your hosting software. So we can see that they've started naming my database with my CCV username followed by an underscore. Here I'm going to type in something to name my database uniquely on my server. If you were using another hosting company, you would be allowed to create some number of databases, probably more than one. Even the most inexpensive hosting that allows you to control your backend and install custom software on your server will usually allow you to have at least 3 databases. But depending on what you want to use your site for, that is definitely something you're going to want to use as a tool when shopping for a web host, is having an idea of how many databases you might need to perform the functions that you want to perform on your hosting space. And the quantity of databases might be involved in that. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Web01 as my database for my first one here, and I'll hit the create button. So there we have a new database called my username underscore Web01. Now I could continue to create databases, but I don't need to do that. I do need to create a user for my database. So we'll go from our database menu up here and we'll set up MySQL users. You can create your own username. We're going to map that username to a database, and you only have one database, so you'll select that. And if you want to be able to use this at school, you'll probably want to allow from any IP address, because each college location could use multiple IP addresses from the various computers in the lab, or you may want to work from at home or on your phone, and all of those are going to dynamically assign different IP addresses. Even if you are only going to ever access your MySQL database from your home desktop computer, Internet service providers often will dynamically provide you an IP address when you log into the ISP. As long as you have your computer on, the IP that is assigned to you from your internet service provider will stay the same. But should your power go off, or for any other reason you restart your computer, you've installed some updates, when your computer comes back online with the internet service providers, unless you're at a commercial establishment, will always assign your computer a new IP address. So just go ahead and make sure that you allow from any IP. And we'll hit create. Now that I have my username set up, it has assigned me a password. I'm going to need that information in order to work on this with WordPress. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to remember that Amy M has access to this one database. And we'll go back to Syntastico, and we will install WordPress. So we're going to install WordPress on my hosting. If I wanted to insert my website in the main folder, I can check this box and then my site will be installed at adm10170.classweb.ccv.edu. If I want to be able to install multiple WordPress accounts, I might want to put them in a folder. I'm going to make a website about web manners. So I'm going to install this in the subfolder Web Manners rather than in the root. You can choose to install it in your root or in a folder. To get to this website, I will just have to type in my domain and then a slash and then the folder that I'm putting it in. And I'll hit install. And it'll take a moment while it unpacks all of the files from the hosting server to your shared server space. So Syntastico has done a lot of work for me, and they're letting me know that they have created the folder that I asked for, Web Manners, and the unzipping was successful, and it is here at this address. Now you can copy that address, but if you go ahead and decide to hit install now, it's going to open a new tab and take me there. I need to choose the language that I want my WordPress site to be in, at least administratively. And it tells me that I'm going to need some things. The database name, the database username, the database password, the host, and any prefix if I want to run more than one WordPress in a single database. It says here we're going to use this information to create a configuration file, wp-config.php. If it doesn't work, don't worry. It just helps to set up the database. So we'll hit let's go. So my database name was that. My username, my MySQL username I set up was Amy M. My password I'm going to paste in there. Now if you think you might want to run multiple WordPress sites on your server, it's a good idea to go ahead and use this last field. It says table prefix. It uses one database for multiple WordPress sites. It just sets up multiple tables on that database. So I'm going to go ahead and call this table prefix WordPress WP_manners. That way I'll know it's associated with my Web Manners website. And I'll hit submit. And I have successfully made it through this part of the installation. Now WordPress can work with my database, and if we're ready to do it, we go ahead and hit the Run the Install button. Give your WordPress site a name. And go ahead and give my WordPress site that username. I'm going to give it a password. You should use a strong password. Apparently I still have a very weak, but I'll be happy with that for now. And we're going to go ahead and give it my college email address. And it's up to you whether you want to allow search engines to index this site. I'll go ahead and hit install WordPress. And it says it's installed and I'm all set. I use Chrome and I do like to let Chrome remember my password, so I'm going to use that. And I can log into WordPress. And here we are in the back end of my WordPress site. I'm going to stop this video here and I'll create another video for you to go over the components of working with WordPress.